Well, hello, good folks. I'm back. Did you miss me? How's everybody doing? I hope you guys are doing fantastic. It's been a little while. 2 weeks, in fact. I decided to just take a couple of days off. I was on vacation, started my vacation. So I decided to. I got lazy. I'm gonna be honest. I got lazy. That's what ended up happening. I hope you guys are all doing well. I'm back. Man, 2 weeks and everything goes haywire. You know, I come back and somebody tries to whack the president. Things are falling apart. You know, this is why I gotta be here every Sunday. I mean, it's crazy stuff going on in the world. But, you know, the good thing is I can see that there's our regulars here in the house today. And hopefully you guys have had a good 2 weeks. And in the meantime, probably accumulated some interesting things to talk about, maybe. New gear. I mean, I'm here to talk about tone. So everybody that's here today, if you're intending for me to go off on a tangent, that will definitely happen. But ideally, we're talking tone. So let's jump right into it. Today I'm playing this guy. I have this Eastman guitar. You've probably seen this before. This is a really nice guitar that I like a lot. I'm really enjoying playing it. It's the model is a T 485 SB Sunburst 48 SB. Great tone on this guitar. Just the right amount of bite, just the right amount of aggression, and it cleans up really nice as well. So if you want to play some smooth tunes, it does that really well as well. I'm really happy with this guitar. I did a full review on it. You can check it out on my channel if you're interested in getting an alternative to a 335. This is a nice choice. Really well built instrument, I gotta say. Like top shelf, beautiful Sunburst. You can see here on the back of it, beautiful finish on the guitar, just a binding all the way around, split parallelograms that I love, tulip style tuners. I mean, I couldn't ask for more. And the gentleman that I bought this guitar from put in some 57 classics, which ended up being like, those are my favorite pickups, which I probably would have put in the guitar anyway, but he already did it. So it was a sign. You know, when he told me, he's like, I updated the pickups, I upgraded the pickup. And what did you put in there? 57 classics. The angels, the clouds parted and sun shone upon my face. And it was like, yeah, that's definitely a sign. So I couldn't resist. So that's it. So we're at show 215. 215. And basically, I think that you guys probably have more to talk about today than I do. So I want to start off by saying good morning to the good folks here already, and thank you for tuning in. We have Dan Gorman here today. Good morning, Dan. Cushman is here as per usual. Paul as well. The Gene Callie. Music and Gear. I hope you're doing well. We have Mark is here too. Hey Mark, how's it going, man? Nice to see you. It looks like Mark is still really working hard on the gigs. He's got another gig later today. It says the third 3-hour gig this weekend. Man, dude. What's going on? I mean, it's fantastic that you have so many gigs, but you need time to rest too. You're doing a gig blitz from what I can tell. And Mark also says he been missing in action for a while, gigs, work, and COVID. Aye, Mark, what's going on, man? I thought the COVID stuff was finished, done with, history. Apparently not. Apparently we're still dealing with that stuff. Well, sorry to hear that, man. Hopefully it wasn't too bad. Gene says, I got my hair cut and I'm freezing. I only get one a year. It's true, Gene. When you do get a haircut, I feel like that too. It's like you feel like you can feel the wind on your neck all of a sudden. It's kind of like when you have a beard and you shave off the beard for the first time in a long while. You're like, you feel naked, you know, baby skin. Kind of like that. So guys, if you're interested in participating in the chat, you know what to do. Put a little question mark if the question is geared or directed towards me. Otherwise, we'll assume it's an open-ended question for everybody. Sometimes I miss the questions because I'm scrolling. So just if I happen to miss it, just put it again, copy and paste it again. You guys know the drill. You have to be subscribed to be able to chat. We welcome newcomers, and any type of gear or gear-related topics are primarily what we're here for. Of course, sometimes we go off topic, but that's okay. You know, we eventually come back. Mark says it's ramping up in Maryland. Is that normal for the summertime, Mark? I guess there's more opportunities opening up in the summer for gigs. Take advantage, man. Yeah. Paul says, for 2 weeks, I literally could not tell Sunday was Sunday. I thought it was Saturday or Monday. Oh, man. Sorry about that. Marcel says, COVID's hitting another wave, unfortunately. Is that true? Is that a fact? I didn't realize that. To be honest, I haven't been listening to any news because, except for, you know, the whole whacking the president type stuff, because that's everywhere. You can't get away from it. But I mean, local news or anything like that, I haven't really paid much attention to it. I gotta say that if COVID's coming back, I mean, at this point we have to kind of deal with it. That's just what it is, you know. JL Trem says, that's an Eastman question mark. I just got here. Yes, it is. Yeah, I introduced it earlier on. This is a very sexy looking Eastman that I purchased, and I'm enjoying very much. Beautiful guitar. A great alternative to the 335 if you're looking at getting something that doesn't have the Gibson name on it. The model is the T48 SB. Great guitar, highly recommended if anybody's looking for something like that. Oh, Mark says Mark meant COVID is ramping up, not the gigs. Really? How do you know, Mark? I mean, they stopped reporting the statistics a while back, at least over here. So how do you know it's ramping up? You just through word of mouth, people getting it, that kind of thing, people you know? Cooltoon says, Tony, don't do this to us anymore on Sundays. You got to start getting fines. I usually, you know, I won't skip Sundays. Just because, you know, vacation time was here. You know how it is. A lot of people are off. I figured less people would probably tune in during this period because people take vacations. So I figured, what the hell? Nobody's gonna miss it. I guess I was wrong. Mark's gas station is here. Good morning, Mississippi Blues. How's it going? So Mississippi Blues says he bought himself a birthday present this week, a Heritage Custom Shop H150 in Tobacco Burst. Great guitar. Have you tried any of the Heritage range yet? Yeah, first of all, congratulations. That's fantastic. Birthday present too. So your birthday was this past week? First of all, happy birthday. Second of all, congratulations on the guitar. Fantastic choice. The Heritage guitars seem really well built. I've tried a couple here and there, and they seem pretty, I mean, from what I can tell when I played it, it felt really great. And I didn't see a big difference between different models that I've tried, like here and there, different places. They seem pretty consistent. So yeah, I think it was a great choice. The H150 is a nice model. Tobacco Burst, that's a sweet looking guitar. So what are you playing it through, Mississippi Blues? What's your go-to amp of choice for that guitar? Yeah, Mark says word of mouth is going around and people seem to be getting it again. I guess more and more people are, moving around during summertime. There's a lot more get-togethers, a lot more groups. So I'm not surprised. I would have thought it would have peaked during fall. So hopefully we're not going to get hit this fall and winter again with a big wave. We'll see how that goes. Keep your fingers crossed. Danielle is here. Hey, Danielle. What's happening? So he says he's got a first gen Boss Katana 50 and he just realized there's a significant EQ hump with the EQ knobs at 12 o'clock, clean and acoustic. My Henriksen Bud 6 seems flat. Hump very disturbing with arch tops. That's an interesting observation. I hadn't realized that. I haven't played the Katana, the first generation Katana, extensively. I've tried it. When it first came out, I tried it in a couple of different shops. I thought it sounded pretty good, but I didn't really pay that much attention to realize that there was an EQ hump. And I think some guitars will tend to accentuate different EQ frequencies. I noticed that with amps, like for example, if I'm playing through my Bernetti Plexi, man, it won't necessarily have the same EQ profile as, say, the Marshall Studio Vintage or the Friedman. Like, they all have their own fingerprint. So some amps will play better with certain guitars than other amps. But you find it disturbing? I mean, it shouldn't be that disturbing. Is it really, like, noticeable? And Mississippi Blue says, sounds great through my Marshall DSL 40. Well, it's a great combination. A Gibson and a Marshall. DSL never fails to please. I think it's a great go-to amplifier. That's great, man. Congratulations. Very, very cool. Paul says, Tony, even on vacation anywhere in the world, our phones are in our pockets to pull out and watch a YouTube program everywhere on the planet. I think you're right, Paul. My apologies. I won't let it happen again. I'm getting scolded here today. All right, all right. Nella says, does the amp have the latest updates? Which is actually a good point that Nella brings up, because the Boss Katana does have frequent updates. So maybe they've corrected it. That's a good point. I didn't even think of that. Cool Tune says, Joyo Sweet Baby, of all the pedals I tried sounded best for a boost. All the other pedals I sent back. I think I did have the Sweet Baby at one stage here too. Remind me, is that the baby blue one? I can't remember, man. There's been so many Joyo pedals that I've passed through over the years. I think it was the baby blue one with the script writing. Was that the one? Sweet Baby. Let me just Google that quick. Because I just want to see if I'm talking about the right one. Oh, no, it's not that one. Okay, yeah. I see. I remember now. Yeah, I think I had this one too at one stage. The Sweet Baby. I think Joyo still makes some really great stuff. Affordable too. definitely worth taking a look at some of the stuff. It might all be what you're looking for, but it's a great place to start. Yeah, $39 is not, you're not risking anything. And I like the fact that if you order them from Amazon, you can always send them back, right? You can try them out and send them back if you don't like them. So you're not really risking anything. Very cool. Yeah. It's a nice little overdrive. It doesn't have like a lot of overdrive on tap, if I remember correctly. So it's great for like a little boost, a push. Dan of New Jersey says, after 5 years, 10 months on the waiting list, I finally got my Kinga Tone. Pretty good pedal. Wow, man, this is a milestone. 5 years. Holy cow, man. I don't know if I could wait 5 years for anything. That's a long wait, man. So tell us honestly, Dan. Now, you're saying it's a pretty good pedal. But I mean, after 5 years... I mean, that pedal should give you like a, should make you instantly hard after 5 years of waiting. So tell us all about it. What's your favorite thing about it? It's a lot to live up to. If you're having a customer wait 5 years for a product to be delivered, man, it's gotta be awesome. So tell us all about it. I'm very curious indeed. Hey Presley, what's going on, dude? Nice to see you. Presley says, Tony, have you done a set neck build yet? I've always been a bit hesitant about doing the setting of the neck and the irreversible glue, but I did my first set neck and it went really well. I hear you, buddy. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, that are not necessarily building your own guitars, a set neck is basically this. This is a set neck. It's glued in. There's no neck plate with screws holding the neck in place. So what happens is you have the body and you have the pocket, and basically you got to glue in the neck in the guitar. And it's nerve-wracking because if you glue it in at the wrong angle, you're kind of stuck once it dries. So, a lot of work could be going down the drain because once the glue is set, it's very difficult for it to, it's very difficult to remove it and start again. So you want to make sure you get it right the first time. I did a set neck for the first time a few years back, Presley. And what ended up happening was the set neck wasn't the issue. It went relatively well, but it was a kit guitar. And what ended up happening was, for whatever reason, the pocket on the guitar wasn't cut precisely. So it was actually like skewed at an angle. And I only realized that after, I had put the neck in. Not that I could do anything about it, really. But, I put the neck in. The angle was good. Everything seemed okay. Then I put the strings on the guitar and I realized after looking at the strings that they weren't going down the neck straight. They were skewed at an angle. And I was kind of pissed off because at that point I had put a lot of work into the guitar. I had already finished the body, sprayed it, buffed it, all this kind of stuff. And the neck was kind of like the last part of it. So I ended up, that was basically a scrapped kit. I built another one since then, another 335 model, and it seemed to go well. And I still have that hanging in my garage, and it's been a long time waiting for me to finish it. And I haven't really had the time to finish it yet, but it's there. I'll get to it. But it's exciting. It's exciting to do the glue joint as opposed to a screwed in neck. Have you, just out of curiosity, Presley, did you make yourself a jig? What I mean by that is that, you want to make sure that the neck is at the proper angle. What you can do is you can take a straight edge and put it on the neck and just put a little block on this side. You can mimic the angle of, let's say, another guitar like a 335 or an Eastman, because they all have this angle, so that you can get into the ballpark range, so you know that you can be able to set the height of your bridge and saddles accordingly. It's easier. I mean, I've seen people, like I've seen workers at the Gibson factory do this. They just basically put this down, and then when they're setting in the neck, they can make sure that it's at the proper angle, not too steep or not too, too shallow in the pocket. And it makes things easier. Paul says, pedal of the week, the Demon FX Z Drive, $30 USD, part for exact part of the Hermidia Zen Drive. And you love it. I haven't tried it. Paul. I'm going to have to try it. The last Demon FX pedal that I tried, where is it? It's here somewhere. Oh, no, actually, no, I think I'm mistaken. That was a Moval, I think. I have a Demon FX pedal here somewhere, but I haven't tried that one. I'll look into it. $30. Seems like a steal. Thanks for the suggestion. Cooltoon says, the Blackstar Debut 50 I purchased. Guitar center is the same color as your Egnator cab. Yeah, I know. Yeah. I've seen those. Yeah. And apparently Blackstar did come out with a new amplifier recently. Have you guys seen that? I saw a couple of videos on it. I think Andertons was doing a video on that amplifier. And it looks interesting. They call it the TV10A. Have you guys seen this? It's kind of geared to be like a studio, like a small studio amplifier. And they're saying classic American sounds. So I don't know if they're trying to mimic the sounds of a Princeton with this amplifier. I think it does have a 10-inch speaker in it. And it is using 6L6s, if I'm not mistaken. I did see the video and I thought it was okay sounding. It wasn't like wow. And I found that when they were playing sounds through it that were a little bit more driven, it tended to sound a little fizzy to my ears. So I wasn't like blown away by it by any means. But I mean, it could be a good choice. I don't think it's extremely expensive, and it's small. So it's easily portable. It's a 10-watt amplifier. So not extremely loud. You probably wouldn't be able to play with a band with this amp. But I mean, for somebody looking for a small affordable combo, it could scratch the itch. Randy says, I have an Egnator Tweaker 15, cool little amp head. Yeah, those Egnators were great. And I don't think Egnator has come out with anything new the last little while. It's a shame though, because they were great. The Tweaker was good. I had the Rebel, and I thought it was pretty cool. And I was hoping that they would come out with other stuff, but I don't think they're really... Honestly, I haven't been on the Egnator website for a long time. I'm curious to see if it's even around anymore. Let me see. Can't even find their website anymore. Oh, weird. Not even sure it's still around. I mean, the Tweaker came out, I think, in about 2010, if I'm not mistaken. It was quite a while ago. And there's still a lot of them floating around on the used market. It's good. So Egnator's not around anymore. Man, that's a shame, man. Bruce Egnator was pretty instrumental in making some new gear. Like, he had some good ideas. I like the, you know, the fact that you can put two different types of tubes in his amps, and you can mix, you know, the flavor of one tube with another. It was great. Marcel says, have you ever done a Jimmy Page wiring on a Les Paul? I haven't done Jimmy Page wiring because it's a little complicated. And plus, I already have a Gibson Les Paul that has all of those fancy push-pull options built right into it. So I can get the out-of-phase sound. I can get the, you know, the split coil with that. I can get even, I could bypass the entire circuit and go straight out of the guitar. So I don't have any coloration from any of the circuitry. And I think that's what sounds the best overall. I'm gonna have to put my phone on Do Not Disturb. Give me a second, guys. I'm getting like pinged here on a regular basis, and it's annoying after a while. So let me just put it on Do Not Disturb. There we go. All right. Wayne says gluing a neck in wrong is very embarrassing. Heard this from a friend. I could agree. I could agree on that. Marcel says, and he's responding to Vinny's World, I think. He says, saw a YouTube on the cat pedal. Weird, fun toy, but could you gig with it? I don't know what you guys are talking about. Is this the pedal that just makes meowing sounds? There's all kinds of weird pedals out there, man. I'm not really sure if that's what we're talking about. Says, I watched the video on that and I figured I could never use it because I wouldn't be able to stop laughing long enough to do a whole song. My Logify says, Tony, what is the amp you currently use with this guitar? Well, first of all, thank you for joining us. I don't know if this is the first time you're on the show or not, my Logify. I don't remember your name or coming across it. Maybe it's just me having a senior moment, but if it's the first time you're around, welcome. Great question. So the amp I currently use with this guitar, there's a couple of amps, and I go around and I play the various guitars behind me through various amplifiers that you see behind me here. Generally, there's a couple of options. I have the Brunetti Pleximan in that corner right there. I was playing that one yesterday. A great amp overall. Just does the Marshall thing so well. It's designed in such a way where you can do the Plexi sound, sort of clean to hot rodded and everything in between. And there's a couple of little switches that can give you like a brighter sound or a more mellow sound or a more dense sound. It's a very, very nice amplifier, and you can do a lot with that. I did a full review on that amplifier on my channels. You can see it and hear it in its full glory if you're interested. Great amplifier, made in Italy, by the way, so a little difficult to get over here unless you can find a distributor that has one of these in stock. But I haven't really seen them around much, unfortunately. It would be great if more people carried them. But anyway, that's the one I was playing yesterday. Then over here, I have the SV Studio Vintage 20H head from Marshall, which I recently got repaired. I was having an issue with a little diode or capacitor or something that was in the hole of the circuit board, but it wasn't soldered in properly, so it was kind of loose, was kind of floating, and it would make contact from time to time. So the amplifier would become very thin suddenly and then go back to normal. I couldn't explain it, but I brought it to my good friend Rick Onslow, who's a great technician here. If you're looking for somebody to look at your amplifiers, he's the man, especially for Marshalls. He fixed it and it's beautiful again. And I was playing it the other day and I was just smiling. It's such a great amplifier. Takes pedals really well. Whether you put the pedals in the front or in the effects loop, sounds amazing. And then I also play through the Friedman Dirty Shirley as well. I think if you guys know Friedman, you know how great his stuff is. I mean, I don't think there's a bad sounding Friedman amplifier in the bunch. They all do their own thing. But great sounding amplifier, nice creamy sounding, great overdrive, cleans up really well just with the master volume. And besides that, I mean, I recently, you know, you can't have all of those amps without having a Princeton. So this is a Princeton reverb that I built recently. I did a whole series of videos on that one. So it's a hand-wired Princeton from a Mojo Tone / StewMac kit. And it just sounds really great in all kinds of different ways, whether you play clean or you push it with some pedals. Sounds pretty sweet. And then I also have, you can't see it, it's in here, it's out of the shot, but I have a supersonic, a Fender Supersonic, which is kind of like a modern take on the Fender Deluxe with a few extra options. Great sounding amplifier as well. I don't play that one as much anymore, to be honest. Now that I have the Princeton, you know, that one sounds really good, and it's not as loud as the Supersonic is. Of course, I always play. Today I'm playing through the FM9, so the stuff that you're hearing plugged in today is through the FM9. So that's the FM9 that you're hearing. It's a Marshall patch, which I'm digging and really like. But guys, I holy cow, guys, I got gas again, and dude, oof, I think I'm in trouble. I've been eyeballing a new amplifier, the Tone King Royalist 3. Have you seen this thing? It's a beast. Now, if you guys are not familiar with Tone King, they make amazing amplifiers. I think you can call them boutique because they're not really doing high volumes. I don't even know if you can order one off the shelf. But anyways, the Royalist Mark III, it's the third version of this amplifier. I'll share it. I'll put it on the screen. Hopefully you guys can talk me out of this one, man, because I got gas and it's bad. Real bad. Hold on a second. How do I put my little oh man, I don't know how to put this stupid thing. Anyways, I'll just show it to you, even though you can't see my face, it's fine. Unless I can do this. No, I can't. Anyways, okay. So the Royalist looks like this. It's a 40 watt 2-channel all tube 1x12 combo, and I was considering going for the head, which is a little less expensive. It's $2,695 US. So of course I'm going to be paying a premium for this particular amp if I buy it, because it's more expensive here in Canada. But I started listening to some YouTube videos, and I have to say the culprit was Greg Koch. He was playing a session with his band, and he was going through this thing, and it sounded fantastic. And basically what they're saying is that the Royalist is it's kind of mimicking the British tones of a Marshall, but it gives you everything from the low gain JTM 45 sounds all the way to the plexi to the super lead. So it's basically like you're getting 3 amps in one. So yeah, it's expensive, but you're getting so much for your money with this thing. The advantage of this amplifier is that it does have, they call the technology, or what they build into this thing, it comes with a built-in attenuator. They call it the Iron Man 2. And basically it's got 2 inside the amplifier, 1 for each of the channels. So basically you can play this thing full tilt and then dial down the attenuation so that you can have it at comfortable levels. So that you can have, let's say, two versions of the JTM 45 sound. You know, one full up and one attenuated on one channel, or you can go from a JTM 45 to a super lead, you know, and you can adjust the sound. So you can get everything from cleans, you know, edge of breakup sounds, crunchy leads, everything, including the full tilt, you know, classic super lead. And it does a wonderful job. So I'm like, man, should I do it? Should I get another one? I don't know what to do, guys. I don't know what to do. I had my eye and heart set on the Plex, the Friedman Plex. And I've been talking about that amplifier since it came out, before it came out even. And I actually had reached out to Dave Friedman to see if I can order one, because I wanted to get one. And back then they were kind of like hard to get. They were still ramping up production. And he's like, oh, you're going to have to wait a few months. And I reached out to him again. And I think they're selling like hotcakes because he's having trouble keeping up with the demand. And so I wasn't able to get it. And you know how I always say everything happens for a reason? Well, I think this is the reason, because after I saw this one, I'm like, maybe I don't need the Plex. Because honestly, the Plex seems great. I have, you know, great admiration for that particular amp. But I've, you know, heard that amp A-B'd between the Studio Vintage and the Plex. And the Plex does sound better, but not by much. You know, you can get into those territories with the Studio Vintage and some pedals if you want to really get it and you want to drive it. So I'm thinking, you know, maybe it'd be kind of redundant to have that, but to have an amplifier like this one, man, I can't say enough good things about it. I haven't heard one real review or playing sample that sounded bad. So there is a person here that has them in stock. So I was gonna probably take a drive down and listen to it this week, sometime this week, and just see, you know. But I'm a little hesitant because I know that if I do it and I like it, it's gonna be a done deal, guys. Then I'm gonna have to put something on the chopping block, and I don't know what I'm gonna. I mean, honestly, if I had to put something on the chopping block right now in terms of amps, it would probably end up being the Fender Supersonic, unfortunately. Because I definitely am more of a Marshall guy when it comes to the sound. And although I love the Supersonic, you know, I don't play it as much compared to all the other amps I have here, so it would be the logical choice. I know you guys are not going to help me. If anything, you're going to make it worse, and you're going to just say, get it, get it, get it, which I appreciate, by the way. You know, but I am, you know, hoping that somebody there is going to talk some sense into me and say, you know, Tony, come on, you don't need another amplifier. But anyways, I got to sleep on it. I'll let you guys know, but that's what I've been looking at lately. So Jeff says, Anthony Hopkins, rule 2 says, don't be afraid to spend money. You can always get money back, but time is gone forever once it passes. And that's absolutely true. Absolutely true. I'll drink to that, even though I'm just drinking water. Alex says, Tony, you made the right choice in the amp. I think this combo is cool. What is the tube in this amp? So are we still talking about the Tone King here? Just make sure we're talking about the right thing. If you are talking about the Tone King, I believe, what is the, I can tell you that in a second here. Let me just look. So 40 watt all tube. Do they mention? Yeah. So the tubes are, basically it's running EL34s. So basically there's V1, V2, V3, V4, and 5, and 6. So in V1, it's the 12AX7. That's the first stage preamp circuit. So channel A and B use that. Then in V2, it's a 12 AX7 also, stage 2. This is for the tone stack. Then the phase inverter is a 12 AX7 as well. The power amplifier tubes are EL34s. And then we have a V6. In V6, we have a 5AR4 high voltage rectifier. And in the combo, they do have a custom Celestion speaker, which is called the 1660. It's a 12-inch speaker. I'm not really familiar with that, but I have a feeling they're trying to emulate the older Celestion speakers. So, I mean, the combo looks cool, but it's not as practical for me to go with the combo, because I try to, you know, travel light. I have a really great sounding 4x12 cabinet behind me, which has speakers that I love. And I compare all other speakers to these, and I think it would be a fantastic match. Paul says, Henning Pauly put the Friedman IRD up beside the real Plexi to show you there was all but zero difference. I'm serious considering retiring my Marshall. Be careful, Paul, because, you know, yes, it might sound very close, especially on YouTube videos, but I can guarantee that it would feel different. You know, it does have different dynamics. Like, I can get pretty much anything to sound like anything else. Like, if I wanted to, I can probably dial in my Princeton here with the right pedals in front of it to get pretty close to, you know, my Friedman Dirty Shirley if I wanted to. But it would be a one-trick pony. It wouldn't really be like, you know, you'd be pretty limited. And I could probably get them to sound the same. Probably not the best sound on the Dirty Shirley. Like, I would have to kind of like trick it to sound like worse than I could make it sound to be able to match what you can get out of the Princeton, but I can get them to sound the same. Davis says, hey, Tony, what speakers do you have in the 4x12 cabinet? They're Celestion 65s. I've told the story about this 4x12 cabinet so many times, but I'll tell it one more time because it's such a funny story. The Celestion 65s that they make today, and the full model number is G12-65. So if you're looking at getting these, they're heritage speakers, 65 watts. They sell for about $179 USD right now. The thing is, the ones that are made today, I think they're actually being made in China. I'm not even sure. Could be that they're made in China now. I know they've made changes. So the Rolla Celestions, and you can still get them if you want to buy these. Like that one that I talked to you. I mean, if I would buy this, StuMax sells them, I think, right now, and they sell them for $232. If I want to get them from StuMac. Now, I don't know if that's Canadian or US, probably Canadian dollars. Yeah, Canadian dollars. $232 per speaker. I'll tell you the story real quick because it's funny. I went to some guy was selling that cabinet, okay? That cabinet right there. He was selling that cabinet for under 400 bucks. Like 375, 350, something like that. This was quite a few years ago. So I needed a cabinet, and I figured, you know what, I'm going to go get the cabinet regardless of what speakers are inside. I'll put in my own speakers, no big deal, but I just wanted the cabinet. So I figured that would be a good price for the cab without any speakers. So the guy goes and get the cab. I'm like, you still have it? Yeah, he has it in some shed in the back or whatever. He pulls it out. And it looks a little bit worse for wear. I mean, it's not pristine condition. So anyways, I'm like, yeah, it's a solid cab. It's not made of press wood or anything like that, so I decided to buy it. And I brought it home, and I opened it up. I wasn't expecting to see what I saw. So I open it up, and I see these G1265 speakers in there, and I'm like, wait a minute. And I'm like, I'm hoping they all work. So I basically start playing it. Everything sounds great. And I'm like, holy mackerel. I mean, just the speakers on this 4x12 cabinet cost more than what I paid for it. I mean, today they're over, you know, $250 each speaker. So times 4. That's not even including the cab. So I think I came up with a pretty good deal on that cabinet. I was pretty happy with it overall, and I've been playing it ever since. And believe me, I've tried so many other types of speakers. I've tried the greenbacks, I've tried the vintage 30s, I've tried even the ET65s from Guitar Warehouse speaker, which are supposed to be like close to the Celestion versions. They're not. They feel and play a lot stiffer, and they don't have that creaminess and that smooth breakup that I have with these. Mind you, these are old. I don't know how old they are exactly, but they've been broken in a long time ago. And so, yeah, those are my go-to now. I wish I can, you know, I'd love to get other ones and put them in some other cabinets here. That's probably eventually what I'll do. So if you guys would love to give me support for my channel and the live shows, please give me a thumbs up. That always helps. I always appreciate it. I also wanted to talk a little bit about our good friend, and I've been watching his stuff for years. Rick Beato. I want to give a shout out to Rick. I don't know if you guys know about this. I mean, if you don't know about Rick's channel, you're probably living under a rock, because the guy's got, I don't know how many, 13 million subscribers or something like that. His channel just skyrocketed. He does amazing stuff. Great YouTuber. Always puts out fantastic content. Great interviews. Great, you know, theory, samples, and all kinds of things. So definitely you want to check out Rick Beato's channel if you haven't already done so. But Rick had recently underwent surgery. I don't know if you know about this. I think it was last Monday. He had open heart surgery. He basically had to get a mitral valve repaired. So I don't know if you guys know about this, but I mean, it's not an easy operation. Definitely not something you want to go through. My dad actually had the same type of operation. They actually replaced his valve in his heart. So I know how difficult it is. I know it's not an easy operation, and I wish Rick all the best. Apparently everything went well, and he's feeling fantastic. And I wasn't even aware he was sick. You know, when you have an issue with your valve, basically your heart doesn't pump the way it should. Basically has like a leak, basically. So, but they have to, you know, cut you open, you know, spread the chest cavity and ribs and everything, and go in there and put you on life support while they do all of this very careful work. And it's painful. It's very painful. So he's being a real trooper, and he's saying that everything went well, and I wish him all the best. Can't wait to see him again when he comes back. And hopefully he'll be good as new after that. So Music and Gear wants to know if I've tried the Celestion Pentas. No, I haven't. I haven't tried it yet. Have you? What's the makeup of these Celestion Pentas? Are they doing something a little bit different? I really honestly don't know much about this model, but I'll take a look. They're always coming out with great models. And sometimes, you know, the thing with speakers is you kind of have to, like, you got to kiss a lot of frogs before you find the right combination. So it's about 150 bucks, I think, US. I don't know much about them. Surgery of any type is not fun. That's, yeah, absolutely true. It's amazing what they can do today. Absolutely, man. It's crazy the stuff that they can do. Thank God they can do this stuff. Could you imagine? Just like the advancements that they've made in surgeries like this, even in the last, since my dad had it, which is, was over 40 years ago now, um, is amazing. Thank God for the drugs. That's what I say. Oh, so they were made for PV? No, I wasn't aware of that. Interesting. So they were like private labeled for PV, is that it? Well, I might have to check that out. I don't know. I didn't know about that. Marcel wants to know if I keep the boxes that you receive your guitars in, just in case you need to move or need to ship them off for after resale. I used to do that, Marcel, but now, there's, after a while, there's just too many boxes. I'll usually keep like a box, but to be honest, I usually don't sell my gear like where I have to ship it. I like to deal in person as much as possible, face to face. So I don't really ship guitars all that often, so I really don't need the boxes that much. But I am like that. I do feel like I tend to hang on to boxes if I buy something else. Like if I buy a set of headphones or whatever, I'll tend to keep the boxes, which after a while just becomes clutter. But I figured, if ever you do want to sell something, it's always best to have the box that it came in. People feel more comfortable with that. Dan of New Jersey says, I was playing the two notes M plus for a while. I turned it off and was just playing analog. The difference was shocking with fidelity and clarity. Your mileage may vary. There's a lot of things coming out, man. It's like hard to keep up. But the technology is getting better. The stuff that they can do with modeling and impulse responses and all kinds of different things that they're coming up with in terms of attenuation and all kinds. It's like incredible. I'm happy to be living in these times because we really have so much choice, whether you want to go digital or you want to go, tube, or it's just amazing. So much choice. Yeah, Jeff, the combo is 59 pounds. Yeah, not light. I've been having issues with my back recently, and it's like I don't want to lug around a 60-pound combo amp, as well as, a guitar case in the other hand and a bunch of pedals in the other hand. It's too much. So I prefer just to be able to get the combo. Not the combo, the head, sorry. Prefer to go with the head and plug into cabinets that I have in my rehearsal studio, and that's it. Be done with it. Who else is here? So Vinny's World, Shane is here, Randy, we said hi to Randy before. Farid, have you, he says, do you have a worthy cab for the Tone King, or would you need another? So I already answered that question with my whole Marshall cabinet story. Music and Gear says he just sold 3 amps and 1 died. Which amps did you sell, Music and Gear? MFN says he knew I was going to say the Supersonic. It's been on the edge for like 2 years. Yeah, and I even recently upgraded the speaker on it. And it sounds amazing. Best it ever sounded. But honestly, I can't justify keeping it if I would get something like that. And I could really relate with what Alex 2112 said. I mean, the chopping block is always the biggest problem because we tend to be hoarders. And you know, my theory, my thinking has always been the same. It's never really wavered. It's always been, I'll bring something in that's new and I'll compare it what's already there, make an educated decision whether or not it's worthwhile keeping or not. If it is worthwhile keeping, then something's got to go, right? It could be a guitar, it could be an amp, it could be pedals, whatever, but something's got to go. Otherwise, I feel guilty. You know, I'm just like, I don't want to be a hoarder, even though I'm kind of being a hoarder automatically, just because after a while, there's quite a few things that end up being really good that you don't want to get rid of, you know. So I'm a little spoiled that way, but I definitely don't take it for granted. I think, you know, everything that I've come up with till now, I enjoy. And there will be some kind of spring cleaning that will have to be done sooner or later. Danielle says, do you commonly see rev amps in stock and on display in large Canadian retail chain music stores? Not really, man. Not that often. Like the run-of-the-mill, you know, Long and McQuaid's, I don't think they have rev amps. You tend to see Fender amps most of the time. You know, Long and McQuaid doesn't even have that many Marshall amps. Like you might see one, like a, you know, JCM 800 or something like that from time to time. But most of the time, they'll have Fender. They may have maybe like one Mesa Boogie amp. But mostly the biggest selection would be Fender. Not a great selection of amps, I gotta say. Like if you're looking for amps, you don't want to go to Long and McQuaid. They don't have much. My Knees Hurt says, if you have back issues, get a folding hand truck. Yeah, something like that would probably work. Although you still have to go up and down like stairs and stuff. So it doesn't really make things all that easy. Hamoud says, hey, can you compare the Enya Novago Sonic with your other guitars? I want to buy the Enya Novago Sonic last week, maybe. What do you think? That guitar is worth it? Yeah, I mean, I did the review on that. I don't know if you saw the review, Hamoud, because if you're looking at to get all the information, you can go and check out the full review I did. I played it. I gave you my opinion on it. You can definitely get all of the information you need. But I mean, I wouldn't necessarily compare it to my other guitars because it's not the same. It's not made the same way. You know, it's a carbon fiber guitar, and you can't really compare it to a wooden guitar. It doesn't sound the same. That doesn't mean that it's not a good guitar. I mean, it still has a great sound, but it's different. So if you're going to go with that, you definitely want to, you know, like, I would recommend the Novago Sonic as a practice amplifier or something that you would use on the go. A practice guitar, it would really work well as a practice guitar, I think. But, you know, you can't really compare. Like, I'm not going to compare it to my Martin because the Martin, to me, sounds like what a guitar should sound like. It's made of wood, whereas the Novago is kind of a hybrid. But I highly recommend you check out my video review on it, Hamoud, so you can really get all of the details. And thanks for joining in. Hamoud's all the way from Bali. Interesting. Never been to Bali. Would love to visit one day though. Music and Gear says Tony sold a Katana 50H VHT Special 6 Plus Blackstar Silverline 100 watt, and my Blackstar HT20 died. Oh man. So did it die after you sold it or just before you sold it? It's a decent collection of amps. So I'm glad I'm not the only one that's hoarding amps. Marcel says, how do you justify your collection to your insurance provider when you tell them you are not a pro player that earns his living gigging? I don't know, man. I mean, I don't think they really care. At the end of the day, as long as you're paying their super high premiums, I don't think they really care. And you know what they say, Marcel, the insurance companies always win. So, and my niece says, yes, a hand truck does make moving things easier, even going upstairs. I had 3 back surgeries. I know a little bit about some things. Okay, I'll take your word for it, and it's excellent advice. Why not? The only issue is in the wintertime, we get snow quite a bit. So kind of hard to push one of those things. But yeah, in the summertime when everything is, you know, no snow, good weather, yeah, it definitely should make things easier. I don't carry my 4x12 cabinet up and down the stairs. Never, never. I've never wanted to do that, and I don't do that. What I meant was, if I have the head unit, what I'll end up doing is where I rehearse, there's cabinets there. They already have the cabinets in place. So all I got to do is just show up with my head unit, plug it into the existing cabinet that's already there, and start playing. Paul says to Tony, Long and McQuaid are a Friedman dealer, but even at their flagship store, they stock zero. But that's not uncommon with Long and McQuaid, Paul. They more and more they're not stocking anything. You have to kind of make an order. You got to place an order, and then they'll get it for you, which sucks because you want to try it first, right? I think they do have a refund policy if you don't like it. I think there's a 14-day trial period or something like that. But I mean, I like to play it. I like to kick the tires, so to speak. So it would be nice. Music and Gear says service center. Can't speak. Service center wants $500 to fix. It's only a 1.5 year old main board failure. Forget it. That's one of the things about the Black Star amps. They're not point to point. They're not hand wired. They're circuit board, and they use a lot of very small components, so it's not easy to fix them. And unfortunately, when they fail, you're pretty much stuck. If you want to, I mean, you don't want to spend $500. You probably paid the amp just a little bit more than that anyway. So you kind of have to like either try to sell it as a project. You just basically state that it doesn't work, and if somebody wants to try fixing it, they can, and just get whatever you can for it. I've done that before, unfortunately, with other gear. It's a shame when that happens, but more and more the technology today is harder to repair. It's basically made to throw away. And I've heard a lot of times, like Alex is saying here, that Blackstar, have issues. I think a lot of amp companies have issues. Fender too. The quality. A lot of amps have noise issues and other things. There was clicking issues with a pedal switching with one of the amps. I forget which one it was. For the longest time, I was seeing that popping up on forums. It's common, but it happens in some amps more than others. And I've heard many people saying Blackstar tend to have that issue over time. Music and Gear says, Tony, still have my Egnator Renegade and my Art Rack amp and my SYN Soldano VT. Yeah, the Egnator stuff, like I said earlier, is still you know, it's solid. I mean, it was good quality. There wasn't a lot of issues with those amplifiers, so they still are floating around. And there's no reason to get rid of it. It sounds really good, and they were really affordable too. I felt, especially if you ended up getting them on the used market. Yeah, Shane says, place an order, then try it. Welcome to my left-handed world. Yeah, it's frustrating. It really is. But I understand why they're doing that, guys. I mean, they don't want to be showrooms because that's what ends up happening. You know, you stock a lot of gear, people walk in the store, they try the amplifier or the guitar, and then they end up going online and seeing where they can find it for cheaper and buying it there. So, you know, you're basically paying for inventory that sits on your showroom floor and doesn't get sold. You know, so at least if somebody comes in, places an order, you have a better chance that they're going to actually buy it, you know. But it's frustrating to be on the other side of that. Thanks, Marcel. Thanks for reminding everybody to hit the like button. Do appreciate that if you can do it. Paul says, went to Long and McQuaid when they had only one store. The lightest string sets were 11. If you wanted 10s, you bought a banjo string and threw away the Louise. Yeah. Yeah, good memories. MFN says, Tony, do you ever see yourself gassing for a 2-rock? There was a brief moment where I was looking at the 2-rock. It was many years ago, though. Many years ago now. But I was looking at that. Yeah. But they were expensive. And I'm kind of glad I didn't go for it. Because, you know, generally the 2-rock sounds a lot like a Fender. You know. So you can probably get into that ballpark with a Fender, and again, some pedals, some creative tweaking, and save yourself a ton of money. But they're still very popular amplifiers. A lot of people still like them. A lot of people play them. I don't see them that often in stores. I don't see them that often on the used market here. So a little bit harder to come by. Randy says some of the Egnators had transformer problems. Oh, really? I didn't know that. For the short time I had mine, didn't have issues with it. So I guess I got lucky. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of amps that have their own specific issues. So I came across something interesting the other day, being a Canadian and all that, eh? There was an interesting article on a rare guitar that was owned by Eddie Van Halen, and it was a Music Man guitar with a Canadian flag on it. Out of all things, you know how Eddie was fond of, you know, paint jobs and whatnot. Well, there was this one guitar that was painted with a Canadian flag, and it was kind of lost in limbo somewhere for like the better part of 30 years. And apparently now somebody's got it and it's going up for auction. And it's even signed by Eddie himself. It's signed by the whole band, actually. So the guitar was custom painted for a special Canada Day concert in 1993, way back in 1993. And it's been, you know, gone. It just mysteriously disappeared for the better part of 30 years. And recently popped up again. So it'd be interesting to see like where or how much this guitar sells for. It was an Ernie Ball model, and of course, you know, it's when you look at something like that, the old Ernie Ball models that he was playing, it kind of brings back that nostalgia because he went from Ernie Ball, like Kramer, to Ernie Ball. Then he signed a deal with Fender. So anyways, this was played at a Canada Day concert back in 1993 at Molson Park in Ontario, Barrie, Ontario. So it'd be interesting who's going to buy that. Interesting little piece of memorabilia there. I don't know how much they're expecting it to fetch in terms of like what the starting bid will be for the auction, but I'm pretty sure it'll do well. And the good news is that the proceeds of the sale will go to benefit City of Hope, which is a leading research and treatment center for cancer. So that's a good way to give back and make a positive impact. I don't know if any of you out there might be interested in something like that. And my Logify says, since when are you in Canada? I've been in Canada my entire life. I was born in Canada. So yeah. Red and white through and through. Jeff says, over 40 years of playing, the only amp I've ever had problems with was a Mesa Boogie 50 caliber plus that actually went on fire. You're serious, man? You know, a lot of times, I remember I've owned quite a few Mesa Boogie amps, and many of them had fans in them because they would get hot, real hot. So I'm not surprised that it caught fire. That's a funny story. So now when you buy a Mesa Boogie amp, you have to have a fire extinguisher close by. Rico says, good early morning from Hawaii. How's it going, Rico? Hope you're enjoying time there. My Logify says, so your family were from Italy then? Yes, indeed. My family immigrated from Italy. That's correct. Yes, indeed. Guys, by the way, there was a poll question on my community page. Maybe I'll jump to that real quick because I don't want to forget. You guys know I usually put some kind of poll question so that we can talk about that and look at the statistics while we do the live show. And this week's question was, what is your go-to pickup position where you spend most of your playing time on? And we had 340 votes, and let's see what the results are. It's I don't think I'll be surprised, but you never know. So the number one question response was bridge position. 50% of you guys said that it's most of the time you're on the bridge position, and I fall into that category too. Be it, you know, playing humbuckers on like a guitar like this, you know, where you only have 2 pickups, or a Strat where you have 3 pickups. Most of the time, I would say I'm on the bridge. If it's a Strat, I'll sometimes be between the bridge and the middle. You know, I like that sound as well, and the neck too. But I have to say the majority of the time I'm in the bridge position. So that's the number one answer in the poll. Number 2 answer is the neck. And of course, you know, if you're playing something like this, that's kind of like you have 3 possibilities: bridge, neck, or in the middle. And when it comes to humbuckers, I don't know how many people actually prefer the middle position. The nice thing about being in the middle position is you can blend the two, right? So if you have some really good pickups, you can still get some fantastic tones by staying in the middle position and blending the neck and the bridge to get a really amazing sound. But generally, people don't necessarily want to stay on the middle position. So the neck, 29% of you said neck position. Next, neck and middle. 9% of you said neck and middle. I think in a Strat that'd be more popular for me. Then we have at 8% middle as an option, and the last option bridge and middle, which I'm actually surprised. I do feel like that's a nice option in a Strat. So I'm not really surprised with the bridge coming in first. There was a couple of comments, so I'll read some of the comments to you guys. Playing in a blues band, I found out that the middle neck position is my home. Neck position is for soloing and grooving, and the bridge position for cutting my way through the mix. I also use the middle position for specific things like Smoking Gun by Robert Cray. Bridge and middle serves me during some funky times with my drummer during some songs. So, you know, this subscriber is definitely taking full advantage of a variety of different positions, which I think is the right way. Squeeze as much tone as you can out of your guitar. And somebody else here says, I'm all over them. I love all the Strat tones, maybe a little more time on the neck pickup. Yeah, which tends to be what you see. Another fellow here says, Strat is neck, Telecaster, and Les Paul is the bridge pickup. And I do think a Strat does have a more of a full sound in the neck position, but sometimes you do want to cut through. Guitar Vacation says neck for cleans with a mix of Strat 2 and 4, probably 25% of the time for specific things. Most dirt is bridge pickup, but I'm heavily dependent on the tone knob for the bridge pickup. Can be the difference between ice pick and liquid smooth. That's the thing that, you know, when you're on the bridge, yeah, you got a tone knob. That's what it's there for. So a lot of people will put it in the bridge, play a few chords or a few licks, and like say, oh, it's a little bit too bitey, I don't like it. But that's why you can dial back the volume and play with the tone knob, and, you know, that's what you got to do. I don't know how many of you play with the tone knob full tilt all the time, but, you know, it makes a huge difference how you work the volume knob and the tone together. So don't forget that. It's a lot of tonal possibilities there. Hey, good night, Shane. Thank you for dropping by. Sweet dreams, buddy. Wayne says that explains all your back issues, Tony. What does, Wayne? Are you talking about the Mesas that I've owned over the years? Does that explain my back issues? Vinny's World says my crate voodoo blew up on me during a gig many years ago. So you didn't have to pay for pyrotechnics, right? I guess maybe your audience would have thought that it was like part of the show or something, you know, smoke and just sparks and fire and stuff. That could have been a good ending to the show. I could just picture it. I shouldn't laugh. Could have been pretty traumatizing, but interesting. Alex2112 says I may be on the bridge or neck or middle, but my volume is always around 8 until I have to solo. That's a good way of approaching it. Bring it down 7, 7.5, 8, just so you have a little extra, and then boom, you're in business when you have to solo. Surprise everybody. Because if you're running full tilt all the way, you have nowhere else to go. DMAX says, hey everyone, getting here late today. I'm in a different time zone and I got my time mixed up. Glad to be able to catch part of the live stream. Well, it's good to have you, DMAC. Nice to see you around. Thank you for stopping by. Rexomatic says, good morning from Whitefish, Montana. Just took one electric Fender Player Strat roasted maple neck with me for summer, learning how to set it up with floating bridge and working on new songs. Fantastic. Sounds like a great way to spend summer. I'm actually also building a new project guitar, by the way. I started working on it, and I don't think I'm going to be videotaping this one. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. I'm not really sure. I kind of already started. But basically, it is the Jimmy Page Dragon Telecaster that I showed you a while back. If you guys remember, I was given this beautiful body Telecaster body, which was hand painted by my nephew. He shipped this to me from all the way from Italy as a gift, and I have it in my possession, and I promised him that I would build a Jimmy Page Dragon Telecaster. So I started working on it. I sprayed it with nitro a couple of days back. The body's pretty much done at this stage. Still working on the neck for it. It's not going to be a one-to-one replica. The intention is not to make a perfect copy. It's going to be more of an homage, if we can use that word, to the actual Dragon Telecaster. I'll be putting, you know, a little bit of my own spin on it. It won't be exactly the same, but I think it's going to be a very sweet guitar once it's done, and I'm anxious to get it finished. So maybe when it's all done, I'll show it to you guys. Maybe I'll do a little sound demo or review of it or whatever. Unless you guys want to see the process, then I can, you know, maybe do a little bit more filming on that. Jeff says, Tony, you have me really thinking about that Royalist amp. Iron Man alone is about 700 euros, so that's 1,400 euros off the amp already. This is the sort of mental gymnastics I do to justify. Jeff, all I can tell you, man, is I haven't gassed for an amplifier this bad in a long time, and I'm a little afraid. I'm afraid that if I go try it, I'm gonna like what I hear. So anyways, we'll see what happens. I should have an update next Sunday, because I'll probably end up doing that this week at some point. Oh man. Eddie says, Tony, any recommendations for single coil humbuckers for neck position? Single coil size humbucker. Well, yeah, there's Porter Pickups make some nice ones. You can definitely take a look at their website. They have a budget line called the Gatekeeper pickups. I don't know if you know about these. They're very affordable. They're like 90, 95 bucks a set. Not an individual pickup, the entire set. And they sound really sweet. So if you don't want to spend a lot of money, reach out to the guys at Porter. They'll be able to custom wind something for you, or, you know, work on something specifically for your specs. Great bunch of people. Try them out. And it's very responsive. They'll answer your questions. Tell them I sent you. My Logify says, for heavy back issues, Ibanez headless weighs 2.3 kilograms. It should be great for back issues. It's not so much the guitar. I can handle the guitar. It's more the lugging the stuff. It's more lugging the amps, you know, moving around, moving things in and out of the car, things like that. Music and Gear says, Tony, we always want to see guitars being built. All right. I'm always happy to oblige. Some people are not into that stuff, Music and Gear. You know, they just want to see like pedal reviews and amp reviews and stuff like that. They don't want to get into the nitty gritty. But yeah, I'd be happy to maybe show the build process on that as well. Very cool. Hey guys, I think we're going to wrap it up. I've been talking for an hour and a half now. I think it's plenty for my first Sunday back. We'll save a little bit for next Sunday. If you guys want to make sure that you support the channel, all you got to do is subscribe, you know, watch the videos, comment on the videos, and share the information with your friends. It's always great to see familiar faces here, but it's even nicer when we see some new faces on the live Sunday streams. So spread the word if you don't mind. It's always appreciated. If you have anything that you want us to talk about on upcoming shows, or anything you want us to review specifically during the week, let me know. I'm always reachable through the comment section at the bottom of my videos, or they're always, you know, you're welcome to reach me on my email or social media in general. I'm always very easy to get a hold of. and be happy to oblige. So that's it, guys. Have a fantastic week. I hope you guys enjoy the summer. I hope you guys that are on vacation enjoy your vacation time. And, swing on back next Sunday because we'll have more and we'll talk about some other great stuff. In the meantime, guys, be safe. Enjoy the music. Enjoy the good times. Enjoy your gear. And best of all, come on back to the show because that's where all the action happens. All right, guys? Have a great week. See you soon. Take care. I'm out.